Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you're someone who constantly feels, just totally bogged down by your own racing thoughts, well, you're in exactly the right place today. We're going to completely reframe what you've probably always seen as a bad habit. Yep, that dreaded overthinking. We're going to reframe it into a highly evolved cognitive trait. So get ready, because we're about to unlock a serious mental upgrade using some absolutely fascinating recent research. Let's get right into it.
Let me kick things off with a quick question for you. Why exactly do you pre-play conversations? Come on, you absolutely know what I mean by this. You're standing in the shower, or maybe you're stuck in traffic commuting to work, and you're intensely practicing a future social interaction in your head. You rehearse what you're going to say, you imagine exactly what they'll say back, and then you plan how you'll react to their reaction. It feels like a totally exhausting habit, right?
Well, this brings us to part one, the overthinking myth, beyond everyday anxiety.
Society often mistakenly labels this intense mental preparation as a flaw, like it's some sort of bug in our system. We're constantly told to just stop overthinking it or to go with the flow. But listen, it isn't just anxiety. Feeling exhausted from pre-playing these interactions, that's super common, for sure. But as the research from the social architect clearly shows, classifying this purely as anxiety completely misses the bigger picture. When you're standing in that shower having a full-on debate with an imaginary person, you aren't just trapped in some state of nervous worry. Your brain is actually doing something incredibly sophisticated.
Let's look at the actual science behind this in part two, Predictive Processing Explained, the Psychology of Simulations. So this brings us to a really brilliant concept, predictive processing. This is basically an advanced mental function where your brain models outcomes to calculate the absolute perfect response. Think of it like this. Your brain is actively functioning as a high-powered simulator. It's not panicking. Actually, it's projecting. It's dynamically running through every possible variable, every single potential tone of voice, and every counter-argument to ensure that when the real event finally happens, you are perfectly prepared. It's a calculation, not a collapse.
Now let's see how this broadens out in part three, thinking in layers, the cognitive architecture.
There's this really stark contrast drawn straight from the source material, the architecture of strategic intelligence. On one side, we have what they call thinking in circles. This is basically what an average brain does when it worries in those repetitive, unproductive loops. It's a total dead end. But on the flip side, high-intelligence minds use mental chess. They aren't just spinning their wheels, they're actually looking several moves ahead, building a strategy layer by layer.
So how exactly does this mental chess operate to boil complex problems down into simple solutions? Well, it happens in 4 specific steps. Step 1, imagine every flaw. You're actively hunting for the weak points. Step 2, model the outcomes. This is where you run that mental simulation. Step 3, calculate the response. You figure out your best move. And then finally, step 4, simplify the solution. You take all that crazy complex data and you turn it into one clear, actionable strategy. Honestly, it's a highly efficient machine once you understand how it works.
Which brings us to our final section, the strategic advantage, your ultimate edge. Now, this is the absolute core of our explainer today. The quote goes, "Average brains worry in loops, but high-intelligence minds use mental chess to think in layers." I love that. Your natural tendency to imagine every single flaw and model every possible outcome, it's not a bug. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a strategic feature of advanced intelligence. It's literally a biological advantage designed to give you a serious competitive edge in complex situations.
And that leaves us with one final provocative question to think about. How will you use your mental chessboard today? The very next time you find yourself slipping into one of those stressful, overthinking spirals, I challenge you to just pause. Look at the board. Recognize it for what it truly is, an incredibly powerful tool of predictive processing. You aren't just worrying, you're strategizing. So take those layers, calculate your response, and go master your next interaction.